Ladies and gentlemen, from the taking advantages of yesterday's discussion and from the advantages of you all people, the non-performing portfolio of the banks, how we will settle these portfolio through ADR. Ladies and gentlemen, we have yesterday discussed about direct investments, FDIs, LDIs, and investment of CPEX, and whatsoever GDP growth and etc. But you cannot imagine what is the position of non-performing loan in Pakistan banking sector. Ladies and gentlemen, according to a State Bank of Pakistan report of 23rd April 2024, published in the Daily Dawn on 24th April 2024, the bad loan figures is rupees 994 billion, say 1,000 billion, and major part of the NPL is in textile sector. Textile sector shows 182 billion in non-performing loan, and the private sector borrowing during 2023 is only rupees 208 billion, whereas it was 1329 billion in 2022. Agri sector default is 65.9 billion and auto sector is 19.3 billion. Here I may quote Mr. Alan Greenspan, President Federal Reserve Board. He once again said, "We should not forget that the basic economic function of these regulated entities, that is banks, is to take risk. If we minimize risk in order to reduce rate to zero, we will be, by definition, have eliminated the purpose of banking system." Unquote. From these words of Mr. Alan Greenspan, we ascertain that risk cannot be eliminated and risks are always be there. The difference between risk mitigation and non-elimination is the portion which can be termed as NPL, non-performing loan. This NPL leads to a cumbersome recovery process, litigation, and so on and so forth, ignoring the cost plus benefit of NPL and litigation processes. Ladies and gentlemen, while financial institutions are facing multitude causes and reasons for these problems, but it is directly related to lax credit standard for borrowing, portfolio risk management, or lack of attention to changes in the economic and other circumstances that can lead to deterioration in the credit portfolio of the banking sector. While a number of ways and means are available and also introduced and required by the regulators both national and international. Most of you people know international regulators. To overcome the deterioration in credit portfolio, even then, bad debts are inevitable in lending business. No matter how careful we are, there may be situation when banks should declare bad debts. Often the borrower may face unforeseen circumstances for which they may not be able to pay even though they have good financial records. In any case, you will always want to recover the loan as much as possible at as little effort as possible. In order to strengthen their credit risk management, banks are required to establishing an appropriate credit risk management environment, operating under a sound credit granting process, maintaining an appropriate credit administration and measurement and monitoring process, ensuring adequate control over risk. Finally, the role of supervisors is important. Senior management should have responsibility for implementing the credit risk strategy approved by the board of directors. Despite all these efforts, which banks are required to carry out by regulators, this deterioration situation is hampering the overall economic growth, GDP, loss to national exchequer, and huge amount of NPL to the tune of rupees 994 billion, 994.82 billion, say now, as of 31st December 2023, now it comes to approximately 1,000 billion.
Thank you, Shahid. I heard you say that one of the issues is over-regularization in the banking sector. And correct me if I'm wrong, the case here is that ADR has placed
Yes,
a
madam,
feature
I am going to ADR.
in helping to streamline
Yes, ma'am.
disputes.
Yes, ma'am.
Can we just have concluding remarks? I'm sorry, but we're running out of time.
Okay. Two processes are there. The judicial process, obviously everybody knows, the courts and banking courts, etc., and non-judicial. Non-judicial is restructuring of loan repayment, of pushing back of installments, and settling or haircut settlement, or corporate restructuring of the borrowers, you may know, and bailout packages, write-offs, etc. Now, now I am suggesting, why should not we refer all these cases to the ADR processes? Lord Jackson said that ADR process is cost effective, and it bears lesser costs. Parties should be encouraged to settle their disputes before resorting to the courts, or if otherwise they are in the courts at early stage of the litigation, they must settle their cases. I propose that yesterday Ms. Hea proposed to depute mediators in district headquarters. Now I propose that technical mediators, technically, for settlement of bank cases, the mediator must be technical. Technical mediators should be posted by the consent of the regulators at divisional headquarters, and park number of cases to mediators for early settlement, and so that the huge amount of 100 billion may become unclassified and regularized. Thank you.